Matiz defending his title. And he started in the water here, so he's had to start with a naval, it looks like, and he's going to go for a couple of mechs after that. Starting on the land, we've gone immediately for a first bot factory for Elodea.
Yeah, now looking at these spawns, Elodea has so much more metal than Matiz, who's got to have to travel a little bit, who's been forced to go naval first, air second, which isn't really favourable. And as I said just a second ago, Elodea going straight out with the bots, which are now amphibious, of course. But the most important thing is, as long as Matiz can spam out enough air to do those group docks slaughters, then Elodea's going to have a problem. But if Elodea can just get up a critical mass of docks, the bombers cannot bomb underwater, I don't think. I think they just ricochet off the top of the surface.
Yeah, and I think it's a really big advantage actually for Elodea here, starting on the land. He can build a whole load of bot factories and start pumping out docks to go through the water. Whereas Matiz, what is Matiz going to do here? Really, he needs to get an air fabber and start finding another landmass for him to build those bot factories.
Yeah, ideally he either wants to go really far north, or once he has scouted Elodea, perhaps to his south or that northeastern island just to the north of Elodea there. Although I fear that Elodea might expand there early on. But Matiz is going to have to expand southwards because of that dense metal cluster. He'd be a fool not to go there, as we already see with that naval fabricator there going to pick some of those up.
Yep, so much dense mechs there. A really important area for Matiz to take immediately early on before he starts expanding to areas a little bit further away from home. So disrupting that's a good idea for Elodea, I think. He's currently sending out his docks all around the naval now. He's actually started an advanced bot factory as well. So maybe he wants to go immediately on for those slammers and send them through the water with the new amphibious addition that's been in this patch.
Yeah, the slammers are really nasty as well. Plus, they're pretty good against docks, as long as the docks haven't got their critical mass, of course. And they tend to be pretty good against those. And of course, shooting up against naval units as well is a pretty big advantage of them.
Moving out now for Elodea, sending out lines of his docks. Looks like he's going over the land masses. If you can disrupt and control the land masses, then I don't think naval is really good enough in this patch to try and take on just mass docks.
Yeah, it's almost as kind of like the Achilles heel here, not going for the docks from Matiz, which I really find an interesting option considering he knows the power of the docks, yet... Oh, game pause. Yet he did decide to spawn right in the middle of the water.
Like we've got a little bit of lag between the players, but hopefully we can pause it for a little while and maybe it'll get a little bit better. There's getting lag. So yeah, this is a difficult situation for Matiz really. I think we may well see the power of docks demonstrated in this game.
Yeah. And another thing that I've just noticed, Elodea, he needs to spam out docks, which he's doing, and the only other thing he needs to do is protect those docks from potential bombers, which he's doing because he doesn't need bombers of his own because the docks are good enough. So all he's getting is a bunch of interceptors from that air factory, which is currently producing fabricators, but given a second air factory is coming up as well, we can safely assume that he's going to get interceptors from that. Perhaps the odd bomber, but if I'm honest, he only needs interceptors and a large group of docks to do the damage he needs to do.
I think bombers can be useful occasionally for trying to snipe a expanding fabrication ship, but I think equally you can do a whole lot of raiding with your docks as well. It'd be really awkward having them all around your base and forced to constantly attack them with bombers and then dealing with fighters as well. So yeah, it looks like docks is really the way, and just interesting strategies on this planet. If you're not next to a landmass, you need to get some air fabbers over to a landmass so you can actually build the docks there.
And that's one of the things that Matiz is doing, which actually Elodea, just to the west there, has managed to see that air fabber. So they're both in the same place there. So he's going to be able to see that. He's probably going to scramble a couple of air interceptors, the hummingbirds going around, and actually take out those expanding fabricators. And this is another disadvantage of Matiz spawning in the water, because he's got to use naval fabbers, which are vulnerable to the docks, or air fabbers, which are even more vulnerable to interceptors and even harder to defend.
Trying to reclaim some of those docks now with the air fabber, but he won't be able to catch him. Micros it and does a move and then a reclaim, but
another Dox comes in. Oh wow. The Dox started shooting at it, but the Interceptor managed to nab it off at the end there. But now, of course, let's see this Bumblebee there. Does it hit the Dox? Yes, it does. I think the height range is just optimal for the bombers to actually be useful against shooting submerged Dox here. So I will retract my comment about the bombers being obsolete.
Tap moves coming in on these bots, and they're going to come in here and take care of 3 of these mechs. Bombers coming in for additional support and DPS as well. Bomber coming in here, and he gets shot down by those fighters in position, ready to defend these docks. Down goes the fabrication ship as well. Bomber coming in trying to support, but already the damage has been done. Is this final mech's going to go down? Pretty close. But now a couple of bombers are going to strafe in here and try and get rid of them. The mechs does go down. 3 mechs go down. Nice little win for a small squadron of little bots there. Getting them in the right place can always be very profitable for you.
Yep. And Elodea, looking around as well, has managed to claim quite a few of the islands actually. The one to the north has got a Dox there by the expansion, and he's just about to run into another naval fabber there, which he might be able to shoot at. I think he just bypasses it, but there is the second one there moving to the expansion, which is going to be a little bit of an issue. And just to the north of Elodea's base as well there, where Matiz has got 2 mechs and a naval fabber, that one's going to come under threat as well. There it goes, about to get shot down. No hope at all.
I think Matiz knows he's already in a lot of trouble right now. It's his expanding engine fabber going north got taken out. He's got no expansions right now. He hasn't even managed to take this dense area of metal that we said was so important earlier on. Just a little bit of Dox harass here, putting him under so much pressure. He is now getting out some of his naval units and sending them forward, and we'll see how well they fare. But really, I think this is Elodea's game, as his T2 bot factory is now finished, assisting it with 6 engineers here. And getting out some T2 fabbers for the moment, but going to move on to slammers soon, no doubt.
Even more bot factories queued up for the commander as well, so we're just going to have more and more Dox flooding onto the field. Interestingly, Matiz has gone for a tier 2 advanced naval factory. Not entirely sure what he plans to do with that, because I fear as though it's not really going to be useful against a large group of Dox, let alone get up in time.
I mean, the Leviathan with those big shotgun shells could do some damage to the a really large group of Dox, but you have to be kind of lucky. They can kind of dodge, and the fire rate is very slow.
The other thing you need is, of course, the Leviathan in the first place. I mean, he's got 1 fabber working on it, it's going up super slowly, and there's Dox everywhere. So, and by the time he's got it up, Matiz is going to have even more bot factories, which he's actually changed to another air factory, but you know, he's going to have enough Dox to take out the Leviathan from a surround perspective, I fear.
Dox now coming in on the north side of Matiz's base. They're getting pretty close here to this novel, which doesn't seem to be firing back. Can it not fire underneath the ground? It's firing at the mechs at the moment. Dox are just going to take it out.
And on the other side of the planet, there's a couple of air fabbers that are even building a few more bot factories as well that Matiz does not know about, so Elodea is going to be able to bring in even more bots from over there and raid those metal on their way to the base. But Matiz definitely, I mean, looking at the map control here, Matiz is so far behind in that.
Interestingly, the eco isn't actually that bad right now. Matiz actually leading on power, 16k to 11, and trailing only 155 metal to 185, so not by a huge amount right now. But the problem is having these Dox all over the map, really stopping any sort of chance of expansion that he really has.
Got a big push coming in from the south now. Lots of Dox. They are single file, but there's a significant number there. Plus you've got slammers mixed in, and now everything, I think, has just had a movement rally from the factory build queue there to just go straight outside Matiz's base. His commander's actually going out to the front to try and deal with this. I think once he sees the slammers, he's probably going to retake that commander back into the centre of his base, because you don't want commanders versus slammers, because that's going to hurt.
Yep, he's taking a bit of fire. Those slammers have got really long range actually, and the commander taking a bit of damage, sitting on 80% already. Now
Bombers coming in.
On as he tries to retreat, and this could be the end of Matiz right here. He strayed a little bit too far. Now going near to where all his naval units are, already falling below 40% though. Just chased down by 5 slammers here, still outranging him by a huge amount. And as he falls to 15%,
that's GG's are called.
GG's get called. He just can't get away in time, and the slammers managed to take him out.
I think that might have come out slightly differently if he'd stood his ground with his commander for a little bit, got an uber cannon off, and then bought himself the time to run away as with that uber cannon. But spawning in the water there, I think, just sort of slammed the coffin in his face there.
Yeah, very difficult, I think, spawning in the water on this patch.
Shall we talk to Matiz?
Yeah, let's grab him in here.
Hello, Matiz.
Oh, hello.
How did that go for you?
Well, not so good, as you see.
Starting in the water against docks is not fun.
Yeah, I learned that, yeah. Yeah, well, I thought, basically it seems like there's no counter to docks on water as well, so that's interesting.
Well, you've learned 2 times now. You don't have any more chances left.
Yeah.
Best of 5 games. Are you still feeling confident, Matiz?
Well, no, I don't feel confident at all. But I'm gonna, I'm not giving up easily, so, obviously. So, we'll see now. I have some ideas, but it's still only about, I still test it on the fly because I'm not prepared, so most likely I might lose, but I'm gonna fight.
Okay, well, keep it a secret for now. We'll see what you pull out of the bag in the 3rd game if you want to get that lobby hosted, and we'll have a quick chat to Elodea.
Sure, maybe I will be making map right now, so a little bit, a moment, please, okay?
Okay.
Yep.
Hello, Elodea.
Hello.
Another win under your belt there. Really nice.
Well, yeah, slammers, I mean...
They are incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
You've certainly rattled Matiz's cage. He's not as confident as he was a few minutes ago.
Well, there are only so many tricks in the game, so we'll see what map he picks next. I mean, if he picks a moon, he has a good chance of winning.
What do you think are the weaknesses of the docks, though? Given what they're good at.
I honestly don't think they have a weakness. They're just good at everything. I mean, in a straight up fight, they're better than tanks, and you can get map control with them. And with the map control, you get a tech advantage and a metal advantage, and just from there, it snowballs. So.
Yep, they are pretty powerful. Are you still feeling confident then for these final games?
Well, I still gotta respect Matiz, because the only reason I won that game was because he wasn't aware of how powerful slammers were, and that's why he spawned in the water. But if I was going naval, he actually played pretty well. Like, his build was quite good.
Okie doke, I think Matiz is preparing his final map now. We'll take a little talk to Milk Dragon, and we'll speak to you a little bit later.
Alrighty, see ya.
Hello there, Milk Dragon. What did you think of that? Milk?
I don't think Milk's available. We might move on to our next game. Is it being hosted?
I'll just find out.
I'm surprised they actually fixed the ships shooting underwater as well, so that actually nerfed the ships even more against the docks. Yeah, so since the ships were no longer to shoot underwater, Norwells were probably the best thing to one-shot those docks. But with those out of the picture, he basically just got overwhelmed. It's a snowball effect, like Elodea said. Once you get docks into someone's expansion with no turrets or defenses, you're just gonna lose everything.
What are your predictions then?
I believe there's a way to defend yourself against the docks if you defend your expansions with tanks instead of doxes and turrets, and it'd probably be cheaper that way. Just put some few walls, put like a few tanks in them, and then basically it's a standard turret. That's what I would probably defend myself against the docks harass. But if right now it's going to be down to unit control, because I played with Elodea yesterday, and it's going to be down to unit control, and Elodea has the advantage in it at the moment since he has a better start build, and Matiz trying to steal that, it's going to be harder for him because he has to learn it and micromanage his units and defend his fabbers and his expansions, while Elodea already has that in his game.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because Matiz has turned up seemingly unprepared many times and gone down to the wire quite a few times, but he's always pulled it out of the bag. And we say it every time, but you know, this could be the time that he loses his crown.
This is the time he pushed his luck too far.
Maybe.
We did say himself he wasn't prepared.
But he says that every time. He still manages to put in just about enough preparation to still win.
But Elodea is a whole different category of players he's played against.
Well, the lobby's up. So we're doing an interesting thing here. We're doing some metal planets. We'll just wait for Milk Dragon to join us before we get in the game. But we're doing a metal planet, single planet system here. It is sticking to what he knows, no orbital.